I'd like to call the Monday, March 13th, 2017 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting to order. If we could stand and pay respects to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll have a recording secretary note the roll. We do know that Ms. Payne is not here, and Mr. Banikowski, we said that right, Banikowski? Banikowski is filling in for her today as our alternate.
Okay, do we need to take a roll, or?
We can.
Bailey's here, Butler.
We're just taking roll.
Here.
Walters?
Here.
Here. Mr. Banikowski?
Here.
And Ms. Myers?
Yes, I am here.
We are here.
We need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Seconded?
As moved and supported, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the February 13th meeting minutes.
Make a motion, we approve our meeting minutes of February 13th, 2017 from a regular meeting.
Second.
All right, that was moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this point, we will open the floor to public comments on items not on tonight's agenda. Anything else you'd like to speak about? This would be the time. Not having any public comment, we will move on to item 7, which is our regular business. We have ZBA 004.17, and that is the proposed residential home to be rebuilt due to fire. It's located at 578 Maloney Avenue. It's parcel 0428303-003. The applicants are here, and if they would like to come up and go ahead and give your name and tell us what you need here.
I'm Craig Harris. Yeah, we're looking to rebuild. We had the fire before Christmas, and we have to demo the part of the house that burned. That part of the house contained the kitchen and 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. So now we have to, because the footing underneath that house is suspect at best, we have to take it down and put in new footings. So the house currently is outside the setback. It's about 7 feet from the property lines, and that's approximately where we're going to build the new place. We're gonna come in a little bit from last year's phase 1 of the build, if you will, the addition that we put on. We're going to come in 2 feet on the northwest side, and the other side's going to be flush with that, the current addition. And I believe that puts us 3 feet outside the setback rule. But as we mentioned last time, we had a meeting last summer for this. A lot of people do it in that area. That's kind of how most of the lots are, real narrow. So, I don't think.
So from the original plan that was presented that you did get the variance for, just briefly kind of go over what the changes would be to that.
It's just bringing it out toward the road, where the house that burned, the part of the house that burned is toward the road. So that's coming down, and then we're going to build in its place, basically. So. And like I said, it's going to be about the same footprint as what's there now. It's just going to be square, because that house isn't square to the property lines, and it's going to be inset a little bit from the original addition, 2 feet on the one side, and it'll be a 7-foot setback on the southeast side, and it'll go from about 7 feet to about 9 feet on the northwest side. And the setback, I believe, is 10. I'm not sure if you have the plan in front of you. You do? Okay.
Yeah, we have the
Okay.
information. It just going back and forth between the two.
It's, because you can't probably tell, yeah, there you go. You got to look back and forth as to what's there now. I believe the architect put dotted lines on what's going to be demoed.
So the existing portion that is to the, I'm looking for the, basically the south side of the property, that is not changing substantially.
Right. We're just going to open it up now and because we have to fit a kitchen in there and, you know, the rest of the living space that we had in the original house.
And this portion, is this R1 or R1A?
Says R1.
Yeah, we looked at the map last time, and it has them both in the area, and nobody could really differentiate, but it does say R1.
And so I'm just kind of going over what the basic changes are. The variance that was granted before was, help me get those numbers here, because I had my notes on my other paper, which I left at home. Was it 7 feet and, where do we go here?
Said it was 7 feet.
Yeah, I believe 7 feet.
The west side would be no less than 7 feet,
Yeah,
and the east be no less than 7 feet. And that's from the April 11th, 2016
Yep, yeah,
ZBA meeting.
that's what's going off memory, 7 and 7.
Yep.
And so the proposed plan is in keeping with that original 7 and 7. It's just that the last variance was tied to the existing plan as it was presented, and now it's a different plan because of a change in circumstance. I will open this up to the board here if anybody has any other questions or needs more information on this.
I had a question on the setback on the west side. It says 7.1 feet. Is that correct?
yeah, that's.
It is?
Yeah.
So you're looking for a variance of 2.9 feet on the west side and 3 feet on the east side?
Right.
So just looking at it in its entirety, it's a change, but it doesn't seem like it's a significantly large change from what was there before. I mean, that's just when I'm looking at the two, from what was there.
Yeah, I mean, it's consistent with essentially the variance we granted
Yeah.
back in 2016.
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Obviously, the existing home was a little bit farther setback on the west property line,
Right.
but to square it up, like you said, and make it consistent. I understand that. It'd be different if it was pushing the envelope on the side yards,
Right.
but he's consistent with it.
Do we have any more questions for the applicant at this point?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Well, I want to express that, yeah, I mean, that must be terrible to have your house burnt down and everything that you've been through with that. I can't even imagine, so.
Yeah,
that,
it was, and still is, it's stressful, there's no question. We're getting through it, but we've got great neighbors, I will say that. It's been a blessing to realize how people have stepped up and helped us. So it's been, that part was just awesome, so.
to
We're gonna
hear.
get through, we just have a lot more work. We planned on maybe doing this in the future when we
Right.
saved enough money, but now we're forced to do it. So
Right.
It's, And with insurance the way they are, they never, want to pay for everything. So
Right,
it's-
and you don't get your memories and all that back, so you can
Yeah.
only make the best of that situation, so we
Exactly.
definitely sympathize with that, just wanted to let you know that. And we also are having a lot of requests coming from these neighborhoods. We have these neighborhoods where the lot size doesn't meet the ordinance, things changed over the years, and we're trying to change that. So there's been a lot of work at Planning Commission with ordinance review on that, and so that might be something that you want to keep up on. And we're really trying to see what the neighborhood in these areas of Maloney and Brab Dewey and Stony Lake would like to see. And the general trend is to try and keep a 15-foot separation between the buildings and find a way to make it equitable for the property owners. I'll say in this case, it meets that intent of what we're looking for overall. And we're trying to create a situation where these homeowners don't have to come to this board to do these things, because we want you to be able to improve and make improvements that help the neighborhood and the community, and not have to come and do this. So we're sympathetic with the plight of the people in these neighborhoods, and we're working on trying to fix that, and that's going on right now. So, like I said, again, just keep up with Planning Commission, let your neighbors know, have them read it. If they like the direction we're going, let us know. If there's something you don't like, let us know. This is a time for you guys to speak up, so.
And if it passes, can we get a refund?
Pardon?
Sorry.
Okay, you may want to stop there.
Try though.
That was a good try. No, we do sympathize and we do understand. We do, and that's what we hate to see, but right now we have to go with the ordinance that we have.
I
So
understand.
we are definitely sympathetic to that. So at this point, we can have you sit down. We're going to go through our,
It's 45.
I have the schedule of regulations. What were you asking for?
The width was 80 feet,
Yeah.
and he's
Yes.
at 45.
Mm-hmm.
Is that another variance, or is?
No, because
They're not-
the lot is
that's-
created, that is non-conforming, continuing. It doesn't change.
Prior to
It's a
this
legal
ordinance?
non-conforming.
It's a legal non-conforming
Legal.
lot,
Okay,
yes.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
In this case, it's legal non-conforming, so they'd be allowed to build without having to address that specific issue.
Okay.
If they're trying to split it to that, then that would definitely be a consideration. All right, what's the pleasure of the board here? Pardon?
Open public.
Pardon? Well, I don't see any public here. We would normally open it to the public. This would be the point for the public. I don't believe that we got any communications. Did we? We have no.
We had one person come into the office today, and they expressed that they had no problem with it,
Direct me.
their proposal.
What office here at the township?
Yeah, right down here.
Okay.
I don't have an office.
Well, I was wondering what office you're going to.
Yeah.
I don't have an office.
I don't have an office here either.
Being an alternate's a pretty good
I
gig.
guess.
I'm on top of it, guys, I tell you.
Well, I tell you, it took a lot to get him to be an
I
alternate.
stood down
That was
here
part of the
for
give,
five-
huh?
I stood down here for 5 days, watched for people to come in and asked them what they were coming in for. I've got land to sell you in Alaska, too. No, I was in here today when one of the neighbors came in, and they expressed their view that they had no issue with this proposal.
And I know this went out, and I know in the past, people who have had concerns have come up and expressed this, but this seems to be a general consideration in this neighborhood. And I think that it's really keeping with what they had requested last time, so I don't see a substantial change where anybody would have really noticed enough to come in. The Zoning Board of Appeals may authorize a non-use variance from the terms of this ordinance on a case-by-case basis, as long as granting the variance will not be contrary to the interest of the public. In granting this variance, the ZBA may prescribe appropriate conditions and safeguards in continuity and conformity with this ordinance. Neither non-conforming use of neighborhood land, structures, or buildings in the same district, nor either the permitted or non-conforming use of land, structures, or buildings in any other district shall be considered grounds for the issue of a variance. In order to grant the variance, the Zoning Board of Appeals must determine that literal enforcement of the provisions of this ordinance would result in practical difficulties. The factors for practical difficulties that we will consider are, number one, strict compliance with restrictions covering setback. In this case, will unreasonably prevent the owner from using the property for a permitted purpose or will render the ordinance conformity unnecessarily burdensome. Does anyone disagree with that?
I don't.
No,
And I think in general, for the record, the board has found that this is in substantial compliance with what the board granted in, was it April of 2016?
April 11th, yes.
Yeah, in April in 2016. And the factors that we're considering is that the home is burnt down, the foundation and needs to be removed. I don't know, for me, that was even a big issue about the foundation. It's just that they had an opportunity to retrofit the design of the building a little bit more to fit the existing portion of the house that was
Right,
there.
minimum lot width is 45 feet, so we
Right.
should take that into consideration, because it was, like you mentioned earlier, now it's 80 feet.
Right, it would be required to be 80 feet in that, and it's half of the requirement, and the setbacks are set on an 80-foot lot, not a
When you put 10
45.
and 10 on it, you get 25 feet.
Yeah.
There's not a lot you can do in 25 feet.
One of the shotguns homes is about all you do, and we're not New Orleans, so that definitely is a factor that we considered with that. The variance will do substantial justice to the applicant as well as to other property owners, and
That applies.
I believe it applies,
It applies.
especially in consideration of the fact that we are acknowledging that the ordinance for these areas needs to be addressed to allow a little bit more flexibility for the homes in these areas. Does anyone disagree?
No.
A lesser variance than requested will not give substantial relief to the applicant and will not be more consistent with justice to other property owners.
I agree.
Well, we've granted a variance previously for 7 feet for this house.
Yep.
I don't think a lesser variance is appropriate.
No.
It's consistent, the plan that's being presented is consistent with what we had previously approved.
Right. And also in the consideration that we were looking for that 15-foot separation, and it meets that, or pretty darn close to what ideally we're looking for in the minimum of that
Yeah, considering
area.
where the expansion is, yes,
Yeah, and it's equally positioned on the property as well.
correct.
The need for the variance is due to the unique circumstances peculiar to the property and not generally applicable in the area or other properties. This is the case where we need to change the ordinance. It's not unique to the zoning district. So that is why we're addressing the change in the ordinance. The problem and resulting need for the variance has not been self-created by the applicant or the applicant's predecessors. I do agree that that's not been self-created.
No,
The
it's not
lots
been
are
self-created.
deficient in size for the zoning district. The conditions impose that this be designed to protect the natural resources, health, safety, and welfare, and social economic well-being of those who will use the building, land, or activity under the consideration, or the land under consideration, residents and landowners immediately adjacent to the proposed building, and the community as a whole. I believe that it meets that. The granting of this variance should be related to the valid exercise of the power and purpose to which are affected by the proposed building, use, or activity. In this case, I do believe that applies. And in granting this variance, we would establish that it would be necessary to meet the intent and purpose of the zoning ordinance and be related to the standards established in the ordinance for the building, land use, or activity under consideration, and be necessary to ensure compliance with those standards. I do believe that if this were granted, that we would be able to still meet the intent
Yes,
of that.
I would agree.
Does anyone feel any other conditions would need to be imposed if this were to be approved?
I do not.
No,
No.
Okay. And I think based on our discussion, we're finding that this is the minimum variance that will make possible the reasonable use of the land, and that in granting of the variance, it will be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the ordinance and will not be injurious to the neighborhood or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare. With that, we would need a motion.
Chairman, Madam Chairperson, I make, in the matter of ZBA 005.17, the request for, 00417, proposed residential home rebuild due to a fire at 5 378 Maloney Avenue, Oxford, Michigan, 48371, parcel 0428-303-003, that a variance of 2.8 feet or 2.9 feet on the west property line and 3.0 feet on the east property line be granted. This variance is based on our findings of facts and discussion.
Do we have support?
I'll support.
Okay, it was moved in support. Do we want to tie it into the plan that was presented?
That would be appropriate. Yes.
Amend your motion, so would you amend your support?
Yes.
Okay, I'll say we're going to tie that to the plan that's submitted today, which will be included with the file. With that, we need a vote.
Mr. Butler,
Yes.
Mr. Banikowski,
Yes.
Mr. Walters.
Yes.
Ms. Myers.
Yes.
Bailey, yes.
All right, so you have your variance to proceed with this, and so hopefully with the upcoming better weather coming, you'll be able to get this going and get your life back together here in the
Good luck.
community. So good luck
Good
with
luck.
that.
Thank you for coming in.
Yes.
Was there a timeline on that, by the way? I mean, I think in
All
the
the
previous.
variances
Okay.
have a natural, I think they expire
Okay.
in, I'd have to check, but
I know it was brought up
expired-
previously, the last time in 2016.
It expires in a year, I think.
Okay.
If it doesn't, it
All right.
reverts back. Yeah. But, and they have to be making forward progress. They can't just put a shovel in the ground and then wait either.
No, I understand.
Yeah. So you're all set with that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did the applicant for our second phase say if they were coming or not?
No, they received notice.
Should we wait 5 minutes?
Yeah, why don't we do that? Let's take a 5-minute recess, and hopefully our applicant could be weather-related. All right, well, let's reconvene here.
Okay.
It's,
All right.
7:30. I see that the applicant has still not appeared. And
It's appropriate action to postpone.
yeah, I am just going to go by our bylaws here, which is page 3, and it is section, article, I have to go back to which article this is. Article 7, section H, and it says, "In the event that the applicant is not present or sufficient data is needed, the ZBA to take action, the ZBA shall table," I think they mean postpone the matter, "until the applicant can be present or the required information has been submitted." So in conformance with their bylaws, we will then postpone
Or
the
table. We table the action.
table is to be addressed at the same meeting. Postpone is to put it into a future meeting. I know it says table, but table means put it at the end and then bring it back in the same meeting.
Okay,
So
Okay.
it's postponing. It would be postponing until the
I'm not
next
arguing.
regular meeting. So we will put this on our next regular zoning board of appeals agenda with any other action that we have. So this will come back up, and then also this will be one, because I saw this at Planning Commission, that I will be abstaining from.
So it shall not exceed 60 days according to that
That
as
is
well, right?
correct. Yep. So if they do not appear at the next one, they get one more postponement, and then it
They
is
start again.
removed as a
Okay.
application. I'm assuming something must have come up, probably with the weather, and I didn't get an email, so. With that, we will move on to board member comments.
Nothing here?
Nothing here.
Nothing here.
I have nothing.
No comments. With that, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
We are adjourned.
Third.